education. In healthcare, I would say, I would support the position of Michael Porter, which is the only long-term solution to the quality and cost of care is going to be innovation. And at our institution, I would observe that we're about 90 years old. This is by far the golden age of innovation at Cleveland Clinic, and you see it throughout the institution. Great new technologies. We have a treatment for migraine headaches that will be on the market in clinical test, in Europe in a few weeks. A huge problem. 16 million people a year in the U.S. are treated for migraine headaches. But the area we see as greatest area of innovation is in IT. And I think it's being driven by a set of forces. There's enabling technology. We talked about some of it that has come to maturity, but then there's these pressures, these costs and access pressures that are driving it. And we're in the process of commercializing two parallel technologies. One to help with the diagnosis of disease, to kind of a smart system that has a diagnosis build engine, linking it to a set of outcomes. And then we have a care path system for managing patients once the diagnosis is done. And assuming we're successful, that and many others are working in those areas, that will migrate around the world. And patients will benefit from them in every region of the planet. And while the diagnosis of disease is inherently a human exchange, it does not involve infinite elements. So you think about the IBM Watson system as an example that's under development now. Eventually, if it's a finite amount of characteristics, a company like IBM may be able to map it all out, and we can all celebrate a new enhancement in primary care that is just not affordable right now.
Actually, primary care is probably the #1 issue in healthcare in the emerging markets, at least in Latin America.
It is in the U.S., though. Primary care has been underinvested in the U.S., and if you're going to bend the cost curve in the U.S., you have to attack it first through primary care.
So one answer was education, the other one was healthcare. And here we have an example of a local government that what they did was they were thinking more on the short term, which is creating an environment by which they provide better services to the citizens. Plain and simple, better services, better administration of the current affairs of the business, which also creates a good environment for business. The question would be, Brian, what is next? What would be next? What would be the next thinking on your clients or this Somerset One project? How do you start to add value on the services you're providing to the public?
I think what's next, Bruno, is I think we need the ambition to take where we've got to, take it further, take it many steps further. Education, I think we all agree, education is clearly where the focus for investment needs to be. You mentioned small businesses. Small businesses provide most of the jobs in the world, actually, so they have to be the main attractor of investment, access to technology, access to innovation, and so on. All of that drives access to markets, which gives wealth creation, which takes everything else with it. Now, in terms of our partnership, I would like the authorities to put much more into the partnership. So at the moment we have some front office, we have some back office, but there's a lot of areas of those authorities which are still run by the authorities. And I would say, this is my opinion, I would say they're running a way which is less than efficient, and that sort of disregards the role of technology. And there is much more that can be done. So over the next few years, I want more to be transferred into Southwest One, just to wrap up the answer.
Okay, so the answer would be there is still room for continuous improvement in the way you serve your public.
I think there always will be. I think there always will be, because I think the public is a very demanding mistress, and so it should be. We live in a democracy. They vote people in. They want better services. They want better value for money for their local taxes. It's incumbent on us to give them that.
That's like constabulary. Okay, so I want to wrap up this. First of all, I want to say thank you to the three distinguished panelists. Thank you very much. But the concept would be, if I can summarize very quickly, is business as usual. You build partnerships where there is common agreement on what has to be done. And you don't build common agreement by imposing ideas one on each other. It has to be built based on the needs of the people or the reality. Second, there is a huge opportunity. It's the whole world now. Cities is not an issue of very few countries. It's a societal issue. Third one is you could start anywhere, really, no? You could start with education. You could start with healthcare. You could start with basic services. There is always opportunity to drive the use of technology, process innovation, intelligence into improving the affairs of a city. No political discussions this time, which was very interesting, very interesting. So again, thank you very much. Please an applause for our...